Welcome back to the Creative Boom podcast. I'm your host, Katy Cowan, and I'm not sure I've even mentioned it yet, but we launched this new season with the news that we've reached 1 million downloads. And I've been so busy putting all the episodes together, I haven't really acknowledged it yet with you. So thank you. I just wanted to say, if you've been listening over the years and you've been following this show, every download that you make, every time you tune in, the reviews you leave, it all helps us reach more brilliant creatives like you. So thank you for your ongoing support. I absolutely love doing this. I can't imagine doing anything else. Anyway, enough of all that gushing. This week, we're joined by the brilliant Sam Gilbey, an illustrator whose painterly style and love of pop culture have made his work instantly recognisable across billboards, books, comics, films, you name it, everything in between. For nearly 2 decades, Sam has built a thriving freelance career, collaborating with the likes of Marvel, Netflix, Disney, and The Guardian. He's produced officially licensed artwork for cult classics like Ghostbusters, Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse, and Trainspotting, and his portraits have become favourites of everyone from Edgar Wright to Quentin Tarantino. In this episode, we talk about resilience and survival in a rapidly evolving creative industry, from the AI revolution, yes, I know, some of you are sick of hearing about it, but you know what, it's there, to the pressures of freelancing in general. Sam shares the importance of focusing on one creative passion, how to thrive in a saturated market, and let's face it, there are so many of us these days, and why authenticity and human creativity still matter most, no matter what is coming next. We also dive into everything from daily routines and nostalgic comfort to embarrassing moments and creative nemesis. Well, more of that's coming later in the week when we launch The Spark, our bonus episode with that week's guest. There'll be a little Star Wars thrown in for good measure too. So whether you're an aspiring illustrator or a seasoned creative, I hope this conversation brings lots of wisdom and you enjoy the honesty and the fact that there's plenty of heart. This season of the Creative Boom podcast is proudly sponsored by the School of Communication Arts, the most awarded ad school in the world. And now they've launched something truly exciting, SCA Online Portfolio. It's a new, fully online course designed to make creative education more inclusive, accessible, and flexible. Whether you're just starting out or switching careers, you'll learn how to build a jaw-dropping portfolio that opens doors, all guided by award-winning mentors from the creative industries. You'll get real briefs, live feedback, and support from a community that genuinely wants to see you thrive. And the best part, you can do it all remotely, at your own pace, from anywhere in the world. So if you've been dreaming of breaking into advertising or design, but didn't know where to start, this is your moment. Check out SCA Online Portfolio now at schoolcommunicationarts.com. And guess what? We're offering a £500 discount to our Creative Boom listeners. Just use the code BOOM500 at checkout. Well, I really think this is going to resonate with so many of our listeners today, Sam. So thanks for joining us. I mean, we're going to be talking about surviving the many storms as an illustrator. I mean, you've certainly weathered a few.
Definitely weathered a few. And, you know, there's always another one around the corner. So, yeah, you know, but I've managed to keep going somehow, despite it all. And still enjoy what I'm doing.
That's a triumph, isn't it, really? You know, to still be loving what you started off doing. I mean, when did you start your career in illustration?
So it's about 20 years ago now.
2 decades.
Yeah, 2 decades. Although at the time I was also a graphic designer and a web designer and, you know, more of a general creative. And then I was always kind of keeping my illustration developing and going on the side. And then for the last 10 years, that's all I've been doing. Just was able to kind of focus on the artwork.
Amazing. And I'm looking at some of your earlier work. Gosh, it's quite a contrast to what you're doing today. I actually love it because it's taking me a trip down memory lane when I guess the internet was a bit more wild and creative and fun. I bet it was a fun time to be immersed in that kind of web 2.0, was it?
Oh, 1.0.
1.0, okay.
I was there from the, like day one, and we were all just like, because I graduated 99.
Right.
With a degree in visual arts and music from Keele University, and had a great time there, and had been doing a lot of painting, had been generally thinking about lots of stuff. I did some animation. I didn't know at that time how on earth to make a career out of any of it, but I knew I was going to be creative. But web design was kind of just happening and just starting. And in fact, like a local, it was like the day after I graduated, the day I'd had a job accepted, like to be at the local music store, which I would have liked to do. I actually got offered a job at a kind of web design company, basically.
Nice.
So it was, and then got straight in. And at the time, there were no rules. No one knew what they were doing, but they could see that I was creative from what I'd already done, and they just kind of wanted me to sort of help them figure out what to do. Yeah.
It was a gold rush moment, wasn't it, really, for web design?
Yeah. No, it was crazy. Like, so I worked with like a local company. Like, one thing I always think of was I was working with Weetabix, doing their first website, and we would be meeting literally with the head of marketing, and we were like 21, 22, and coming up with these kind of crazy ideas for like animated Flash little websites and stuff. And I remember we built a time machine of all their adverts, and it was this cool interface and stuff.
Nice.
And we were able to do all these. We were starting to earn a living, getting paid, but also getting like cereal bars, getting Alpen bars, for free. And it was just a kind of mad time. And then, later on, obviously, then the advertising agencies came in, and, we were just this small little local company. They liked us because we were literally, they're in Kettering, we're in Bedford, so it was close. Mm-hmm. But anyway, that was kind of a fun way to get started. And then we had all sorts of, but at that time you would just go and think of some interface design, something interesting that you found interesting. And then, you'd meet with the client. If they liked it, you'd kind of build it, and then off you went. So it was a great time to, I started learning Photoshop like at university, like I think Photoshop 4. And I remember that, this is how old I am, but when you were doing typography, you literally had to type it and render it, and you couldn't edit it. You'd have to, if you'd done it wrong, you'd have to do it again, delete it.
Good grief.
So this was the early days, but yeah, it was exciting. But, I always wanted to do art, and I'd never kind of stopped that. I kind of got my first Mac, got my first Wacom tablet, and was starting to because my stuff was all painted, and I had a fine art kind of background. So I started working in Corel Painter, which at the time was kind of the best way to mimic traditional media. And then gradually kind of like brought my style into that. And then, a few years into that, started doing like magazine tutorials, both for graphic design, but also for illustration. And then little by little, these opportunities kind of opened up,
It's brilliant. I'm just thinking, did the Weetabix ads include the one where they had all the skinheads?
Oh, no, we didn't have that one, but we had like the, the one where they had all the Weetabix were doing breakdancing and stuff.
Yes.
All the kind of cartoon ones, and then have you had your Weetabix, all that sort of era?
I was in the Weetabix club,
Really?
I took my Weetabix club membership very seriously.
Well, as one should.
There is actually a photograph of me wearing a T-shirt with a skinhead Weetabix bursting out of the T-shirt and going,
the
okay.
Skinhead. Oh, sorry. Yeah, So there was like the skinhead, there was like the breakdancing guy. And And I remember, you would read in the back of the packet, and there'd be some toy or book you could get, and you'd have to, after you got like 25 packs, you'd send off to it and have to wait 3 months for it to come.
So good. I think that was probably our first encounter with graphic design and illustration, wasn't it? Serial packets.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I remember on the back of Shreddies, there was this cool painting from Superman 3, I think, and they were like transfers. So you would cut out the back of the box, and then you have the transfers inside the box, and then you lay them out on the scene.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Oh, we just loved it. We didn't have a lot when we were children, but I think there was even a campaign by the milk company at the time, Got a Lot of Bottle. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that's another classic. Yeah.
A lovely typography with that. So, I mean, good grief. It is really sending me down a lovely memory lane here, looking at all these kind of creative, like BBC Food website, Foster's, Ride the Scuba. That looked really good fun.
Oh, that was fun. So that was like, you'd logged in and then you could control this scuba device that was, I don't know, in Cornwall or something, in this tank, and you would like get points for collecting stuff or something like that. But it was Amazing. Like a live stream. So there was the kind of thing where, brands were looking to stand out, and then, you'd see the website address would be at the end of the advert. So you'd make these kind of like these websites that would last for like a month or two around a certain campaign. Yeah. And it was, I mean, as a graphic designer or, creative, it was super exciting because, so I would like, I was at the full-time thing for like 5 years. Yeah. Then I went freelance, and then I was mostly working in London. And then I'd be going all around different studios. You'd do like 2 weeks here, 3 days there. Sometimes you'd have a few months, but, they were tended to be, that was about the longest you'd do. Mm-hmm. So you just work on these interesting projects that, in a way, I guess they were pointless, or they're just for marketing purposes, right?
They had bigger budgets. They could do it.
Yeah, they had bigger budgets. And as when you're trying to build your portfolio to make yourself appealing to other clients, it was a fantastic way to build all that stuff up. And then gradually, over time, everything got a bit more pared back. And, I mean, I loved it when all the buttons looked shiny on iOS and stuff, and trying to do those effects was always fun. And then when we moved away from that, which totally made sense, and everything got more, user experience kind of came in. Mm-hmm. And I actually had a good few years where I worked on bigger projects for people like with agencies like for Boots or for Sky TV, and it would be more about making you'd actually interview the users of these things, of these systems or apps. Yes. And then you get their feedback, and then you'd be making something that actually people were going to use and making it better. And there was a whole other kind of satisfaction loop of doing that, but also having come from that world of like, you could say, look, here's this cool design I did where the buttons look like they're made of ice, to like, what color is the button? What's how rounded are the corners, and what font am I going to use? And obviously, as an artist, it's not like you sign your website, so you sign your graphic design, but there was that side of things like fell away a bit. Yeah. And I was then, I guess, a bit of a frustrated creative, but in that sense, but because my illustration work was kind of increasing at that time, it ended up being a natural kind of crossover.
I remember those days very well, and all of the kind of different new jobs that came about from the digital revolution, which we called it back then. I mean, I forget that you and I basically, we're the same age, but we graduated at the same time when the internet was really just this kind of, it had been around, but it was this new thing. We would have moved from searching for things via Excite and Jeeves, was it? Ask Jeeves?
Ask Jeeves, yeah.
And then Google came in. Google was this new shiny thing. And I just used to type in naked men on Google when I was like in my first year at university in 1997. And good grief. Well, that was a learning experience.
Yeah, well, there weren't many naked men on the internet then, I guess.
There were lots of gay porn sites, so they were very, very explicit and very educational. And me and my girlfriends would sort of sit in my dorm and giggle for hours and say, "Oh my God, what else can we type in?"
Get kicked out of the library for that.
Yeah, it was kind of a very, it was a very Wild West time. And I know from my point of view, doing journalism at university, there was still very much a kind of, people hadn't really quite grasped how big this thing was going to be and how much it was going to affect our own industry. People would giggle because you could choose something in your final year as your final focus. I chose broadcast, and the very few people that chose online, which was the first time they'd done it at Preston. Everybody sort of like losers, and little did we know it was going to change everything. From your point of view in graphic design and illustration, it opened so many doors, and everything, I was there with you. I saw the whole thing evolve when I started Creative Boom in 2000. When did I start Creative Boom? 16 years ago.
Right, yeah.
So we started with that kind of sense of adventure. We can do anything. There's no rules. And then grew up and saw this UX come in and information architecture and all these kind of disciplines that, and eventually what you see today, we've done the same. We've moved away from the fun, shiny buttons and the craziness. It's a shame in a way, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it had to, We were doing stuff like, how about guys on this one? We like hide the navigation. You have to like move your mouse around until you can see it. Like
great.
It's so much fun. But yeah, I have to give a shout out to Pixel Surgeon back in the day, which I don't know if you even remember that.
Pixel Surgeon, that
so
rings a bell.
Yeah, so that was 2001, 2002. I was kind of getting involved with that because that was like a design news portal. So there was like K10K. BD4D, all these websites that the community would be going to before Creative Boom was, in the twinkle in your eye. But
of course.
So there'd be a little iframe of scrolling window of news where the contributors, the editors, would be able to like post links to.
Nice.
Here's the latest website where someone's hidden the navigation. Isn't it cool?
So good.
Yeah, and then I became an editor, and then we started reviewing films and music. So I kind of had this side career as a bit of a journalist, and we'd get sent like Ninja Tune albums early, and we get to go to gigs and stuff, and we occasionally get to a little movie premiere and things like that.
Living the dream.
It was living the dream. Wasn't getting paid, but it was great, and that led to just getting into like the magazine tutorial sort of stuff, and then building up my graphics for the graphics I was doing for the Pixel Surgeon site, and then suddenly you're just working on these proper projects and getting paid.
Proper projects, love it. I'd love to know when you felt that the proper work began. But I guess all that kind of creative stuff that you did prior was building up to that. It was leading up to that. You were learning all those skills and it's amazing, really, when you look back. You might, I don't ever cringe, do you? When you look back at your earlier stuff? I hope you don't cringe.
I had a bit of a cringe yesterday because I was going to, I wanted to show you a few of I wanted to remind myself because it's been so long. So I was having a look through, and some of it's like, ooh, I definitely do that differently now. But also,
of course you would.
But some of it I couldn't remember, and in a way that's better because then I have, it's like I didn't do it.
Yeah, I like looking back. I like looking back at earlier iterations of Creative Boom, and I forget to do it and I forget to save it. So it's nice that you've kept everything.
Yeah. I think, and also like, and the fact is every terrible, embarrassing bit of work that you did that you're no longer going to stand by and be proud of, that led you to wherever you are now. So
it's so true.
And I'll feel the same way about what I'm doing now, I'm sure, because and if you don't, then you're not going anywhere. So
do you think you'll still be doing the same thing you're doing right now in, say, 5 years' time?
Because even if no one's paying me to do it, I'm going to bloody well do it anyway. So, because it's just, I can't, I have to do it to get out of my system kind of thing.
To stay sane.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you then at some point pivoted to doing what you do today, which is illustrations predominantly for Hollywood, really?
Well, I'd say occasionally Hollywood for sure. But it kind of began, again, like, I guess it was my sort of side hustle. So I went full time when our second child was born. We got a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old. So when our daughter was born, and at the time I was still kind of commuting into London. Yeah. And I just came to the end of a big project, like a big sort of design project. And then the reality was, well, I want to spend as much time as I can seeing the kids. I've got a job where I can do it from anywhere. I can do it from home. And I had a few illustration commissions kind of like that like lined up.
Yeah.
And I just kind of went for it, basically.
Amazing.
And then I haven't had to go back yet. Although, sometimes when I've done I love doing Blu-ray covers, for example, for films. And when you're doing like an older movie, you're able to do, or you need to do, a new kind of title treatment. So some of my graphic design stuff is still relevant, and I still utilize it.
Yeah, well, we've seen that from the poster that you did for my little side hustle.
The films that ruined us.
I love it. I love it.
Oh, thank you.
I will drop a link to that interview we did on Creative Beam in the show notes. But so it was a matter of pivoting because you wanted more family time rather than a matter of survival at that point.
It was more, it was that, but it was also the sense of like, well, I can't do both anymore. And also, that kind of, although I'd really enjoyed the user experience side of things, deep down, it was also like, that's not really scratching that creative, the sense of creative satisfaction I was having before, when it was just the kind of the mad websites for, I don't know, an energy drink or whatever.
Yeah.
So, and it just happened that I'd also kind of got involved with the kind of US gallery scene for pop culture. So places like Gallery 1988 and Hero Complex Gallery, where for years I've been trying to kind of get work for them, or where you would I'd be sending them my portfolio saying, hey guys, because they would do like 5 or 6 group shows a year. And for years I didn't hear, and then I got invited, and then I just kind of went like hell for leather on that for a few years. And then most of those shows were kind of unofficial, where you'd be doing like just a tribute to a particular director, and you're selling a super limited edition, like maybe 50 prints or something, or even smaller. But it was a great way to kind of build up a portfolio. And then some of those shows started to become like licensed things where they'd be working with the director, such as Edgar Wright, or a show.
Oh, just a casual little name drop there, Sam.
Well, that was just one of the group shows that I did, and then gradually these kind of opportunities opened up.
Yeah.
And then it was just a case of like, I was able to then say, right, well, I'm going to commit to this full time. Yeah. Because, I felt like it was just time to go for it.
I mean, we're focusing on the theme of survival and the hope that we offer some advice and insight to other artists out there who are facing a new threat and amidst an economic slowdown, I guess we could call it.
Yeah.
But for you, when you had to when you were wanting to do the freelance, I think that was probably bubbling in the back of your mind. You knew you had to get out there. You had to build a portfolio, build a reputation, meet people, find the right people. You did it all, and it involved a lot of hard work, I'm sure.
Yeah, totally. And, I think the thing was, maybe I could have done it sooner. But equally, I definitely got to a point where I knew that I had a good shot at doing it.
Yeah.
As opposed to being like, just leaping in without the fall. Because I did at that time have that kind of fallback as well. So, if I'd have done a few months of illustration and didn't feel like it was, just to pay the bills, it was never a case of, I didn't draw a line in the sand.
Yeah.
But I was determined, but equally, I've got a family to feed. So you never know what you're going to have to do to achieve that. Yeah.
Well, there's no better fuel in your rocket than knowing you've got to look after your family and, people are relying on you. I guess I've also been telling myself for the last, however many years, it's coming up to 2 decades of working for myself.
Yeah.
Just, if it doesn't work out, I can always go and get a job.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed, managed to avoid it so far.
Yeah, exactly. You never know.
Yeah, it is nice. There's highs and lows of freelancing or whatever you want to call it, being self-employed, running a studio, running a business. It's not easy. It's not an easy ride. It doesn't suit everybody. It doesn't mean you've kind of reached the pinnacle of your career either. There's no shame in working for other people.
No.
Yeah, I mean, do you still tell yourself that if it all goes pear-shaped, I'll just get another job?
Well, I suppose now I literally don't know how I would go back to that world. Yeah. So, in theory, but I don't even know what, software and, it would, yeah. So I probably can't now. There was
We're unemployable.
unemployable. Yeah, there was a time maybe for a couple of years it might have been possible, but now it would be tricky. But
I think you'd be surprised. I think you'd be surprised.
yeah. I was getting to a point though where, I would be working in various agencies where I'd be like sort of technically having more experience than the sort of creative directors and things. And I definitely felt it was either a case of I either needed to sort of set up my own design studio, which I thought about too.
Yeah.
And then sort of getting people to collaborate with. And I mean, for a while, I was also, as well as like freelancing at studios, I'd be working with clients directly, and I'd work with a couple of developers who would be building my sites. We were hosting websites as well. So I was kind of in that side of things too.
Yeah.
But yeah, but drawing and painting is really like I say,
passion.
that's the thing I would be doing anyway, whereas I wouldn't be going to design a website.
I guess what it comes down to, no matter what you do, it always involves hard work and determination to survive and keep going and to succeed. So you might as well pump all of that into doing something you love, right?
Yeah. And also I think I found that by sort of clearing the obstacles of like, I'm doing this thing, so it's harder to do this thing, then you're always giving yourself, there's always the kind of, you have the backup, which is good in a way. But I think by sort of committing to it, then it was like, you suddenly realize that if you're able to make more work in the field that you really want, whether it's for a client or whether it's just personal work, then you're just kind of like, you're laying that foundation, and it leads to more things because you're finally like got the foot down. Whereas before you were like hedging your bets all the time.
I totally resonate with that. I mean, that was the same with me with Creative Boom. As soon as I ditched all the other stuff and stopped seeing it as this little side project and made it the full-time thing, it started taking off, and it really has thrived ever since. So focusing on one thing always helps. You and I really benefited from the internet and all of the opportunities that came out of it. And I would say still are coming out of it. But does the, I'm going to mention that thing again, does the AI revolution, which they're saying is the biggest ever advancement, bigger than the internet, bigger than anything before, is that sort of changing everything? Is it bringing more opportunities, or is it kind of not really sort of affecting you as yet?
Oh man, I mean, obviously it's the big thing, isn't it? And
it feels different this time, doesn't it?
Feels different this time. A few years ago, it was kind of NFTs, and everyone, or some people getting super excited with that.
Gosh.
For me, I feel like I go through different phases of like, I've definitely been up and down with it, mostly down with it. I hate seeing it. Anytime I see an image that, is obviously been, but then I think, but now I can tell it is, but what happens when I can't, or when we can't anymore, right? I kind of don't understand why people want to look at it or create it, but equally, if people are having fun with that, then I also get it. It's sort of like,
it's a novelty, I think.
I've spent, when you're researching for a project as an illustrator and you're looking, because I my stuff is realistic and painted, but I'm working from reference, right? So of some kind. So I either have to like find what I need or make my own or whatever. But it's sort of like, it's like getting a Google result for something that doesn't exist. Yeah. So I understand the sort of the fun of that in a way. But, and there's sort of talk of like, artists, you can use it to sort of like help you kickstart your next project and stuff. But I don't get that either, because I like not knowing what I'm going to do. I don't want any help. Like, maybe that's, I don't know if that's just being belligerent and old fashioned, but to me, the sort of the stress of a blank canvas, that's what I'm in it for, because when you figure it out and when you make something, that's what it's all about.
It's the fun bit.
Yeah, that's the fun bit, because having the idea, And I guess the point of, anyone like typing in that idea and getting a result back, it's the instant gratification, right? Whereas reality for me as an artist is I get excited or I have a good idea for the project, whatever it might be. Then I've got to spend a few weeks doing it. And that is hard work, insofar as painting is hard. But, it requires, being kind of determined and like sticking through it when or redrawing things that go wrong over and over again. Like, I know I redid a face, I think last week about 4 times because I wasn't happy with it. Right. But then you get there eventually and then you're like, okay, I'm now happy with this work that I've done as much as I can be. So anyway, so I don't know. I think then the onus is kind of back on us to show our process. And I've seen several projects that I've done where they go up on social media, like from, the client side, and then I'm not tagged, and that's fine, but then you've got people commenting. Like, the point is no one knows. So even if you've spent weeks painting something for a client, the comments, unless that client is, when they're posting it, saying, oh, we worked with this artist to make this cool artwork or whatever, people are just then saying, oh, this looks like AI to me. But, it's like, that's frustrating, but also it's not their fault because, everyone thinks that anything can be made. And of course, a computer can look at everything that's ever been done and make something that's sort of a weird synthesized new thing out of it. But that's our work,
This episode of Creative Boom is supported by the School of Communication Arts, the most awarded ad school in the world. Their new SCA online portfolio course gives you everything you need to break into the creative industry. Real briefs, top mentors, and a killer portfolio, all from the comfort of your own home. And yep, you can get £500 off with the code BOOM500. And to see just how great the School of Communication Arts really is, we spoke to some of its recent graduates, including Tom Hauser, Executive Creative Director at ITV Creative, formerly Creative Director at Uncommon. We asked, how did SCA stretch your creativity in ways you didn't expect?
So SCA stretched my creativity in ways I didn't expect because it was so hard. And I loved it. But you were turning up every single day, Monday to Friday, and every single day was a new challenge. It is not a course that is designed for people to coast through. It's a course that's designed to challenge you and get your brain going and get you thinking in different ways. And it is a course that will completely change the way you think and the way you work. It takes you from maybe having a base education of going to secondary school and maybe university, and that's the kind of way of learning that's really old-fashioned, into a totally new dimension of learning. And it is really, really fun, but it's a hell of a ride, and it's done in a year, so you really have to kind of put everything into it.
Thanks to Tom for sharing his insight. Want to follow in his footsteps? Head to schoolcommunicationarts.com and use code BOOM500 to get £500 off your place on SCA online portfolio. I still think there's huge value from the perspective of most normal people who don't necessarily understand how the creative industry works, how your process would work. I think most people value human-made. And I actually think that's going to be the saviour long run, in the long term. Some of the brands are playing around with things a little bit now. I noticed that doll trend thing was taken off by it took off. There was a trend on the illustration community fought back with their own illustrated dolls. But it was quite disappointing to see some big brands jump on board with that as well. Yeah. And I think they got quite a few of them. I was keeping an eye on the comments on Instagram, and a lot of them got trolled and criticised. And why are you doing this? It's not reflecting very well on you. And I think the question is, will non-creatives hate that as well? Or will they not give a stuff? And will authenticity save the day? Because if you're a consumer and you're looking at an image online that's part of an advert for a brand, you want to know that thing's real. You don't want to...
Yeah. When I'm on a positive day, when I'm thinking about it, then I think, well, what would be great? Because over the years before all of this, it was always great when a client would tag you in something, right, that you've done.
Yeah.
And mention you. And now I feel like what I'm hoping is the result could be that brands working with artists will actually be more proactive in being about, maybe we have to film our process, but it could lead to more kind of, I hate the word, but publicity for us.
Yeah.
Or for artists,
So they lean into it and they're proud of it.
It's frustrating that we have to prove that we're doing it for real, but equally that could be something that then elevates us, because just a simple thing would be like thinking about book covers, where obviously the author is mentioned because they wrote the book. I always think like, why if we had a tradition where the artist was also mentioned on the cover.
Yeah.
Then this kind of thing where now you're seeing like, AI generated covers, especially for sci-fi and stuff. If we had that tradition of like, mention the artist, then I feel like, people are already not caring in a way. They might pick up a book because of the cover.
Yeah.
But it didn't, and you would find out the artist if you looked inside. But anyway, so I think there's opportunities to then for pushback.
I think
from all of us, but from clients as well.
I think it's already happening. I think there is a realization that actually that might not be the right route to go down. And just going back to the creative process, I mean, I liken AI to like, do you remember those brilliant PC magazines we got as kids, and we'd go to the cheat section and be on Age of Empires, and there'd be like all these like, really great keyboard codes that you'd put in so you could reveal the whole map or give yourself 10,000 gold, and then then you would build a massive city, kill all your enemies, and it would just be really, really boring because there was no kind of strategy
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You take away the challenge, and I think there's the novelty factor. But like you say, after you've got all the gold and there's no one to stand up against you in a video game, then that you're not going to want to play it. Whereas it was the balance of the difficulty that made it fun to do.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
I've actually got to go back on God of War at some point and check that this glitch in the game's been updated, see if there's any kind of updates, because I've just gone really off it because I can't get past this bridge and it's really doing my head in. So I didn't cheat, Sam. But
right, just waiting for them to fix it.
I did get stuck. Now, I was a client, I guess, of yours recently.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've already just mentioned it. I absolutely loved that project. It was so fun.
It was so much fun to work on with you guys. It was just, like to be able to lean into, because initially you'd kind of come to me, you and Miles had sort of said about, we'd love to have an illustrated cover. And obviously that's in itself great because you could have used photography or just done graphic design or whatever.
Yeah.
But then because the title of it was The Films That Ruined Us, I just was, and you sort of sent me some of the films you were going to be talking about in your first season.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it'd be really cool to like make it as if it's like a video cover from back in the day.
So cool. So cool. You were just a dream to work with because you're just full of really original ideas, and I didn't realize I was going to get a bionic arm and a sort of eye patch of some kind. I'm very kind of Kurt Russell there, I think.
Yeah. Well,
I love it.
Thanks, man. Yeah. Oh, it's great. Like, like having, the idea is like you're sort of a bit more, you're both kind of Mad Maxy, but you're on a bit more of a sci-fi side of it. And Miles is a bit more horror. There's a couple of zombies coming out behind him.
So good. It's like a dream come true, and it was... Yeah, I mean, from start to finish, all the different things that came out of that process, that couldn't have been replicated at all by a machine. The chats we had, I just find it really funny that I was completely clueless and I had no idea that that's what we were actually aiming for. And when I saw the first draft, so I was like, whoa, I didn't realize I was going to wear an eye patch. This is amazing.
Yeah, well, I think Miles might have suggested the eye patch, I think. I can't remember, but... so I mean the cool thing, and I should say as well, like it didn't come out of nothing at all. Like you guys got together, had a photo shoot, and that is, so that is already, you've already elevated what you're able to, or what I'm able to do, because I'm not having to spend, I don't know, an extra week just kind of working out or trying to figure out, how you would be posed and everything. So having that as a get-go, and you're thinking about the genre and you've got the right expressions, so that, then you're off, And,
Can you tell I'm in pain there?
Well, it could be the eye.
Oh, bless me. Yeah, that was the first time I met Miles in real life, and I was just really struggling,
bad, yeah.
still getting over the back injury. But it was a fun day. I just still can't believe that's in my house. I love it. I showed it to my nephews, and they were like, "Wow!" I'm like, "Yeah." You thought I was cool before, now I'm badass.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, the 13-year-old just rolled his eyes and went, "Oh, God."
Yeah, sounds like my son.
Still thinks I'm cool. I'll keep telling myself that. Although he did ring me up the other day, and he was like, "Auntie, can you tell me how to double wield guns in Red Dead, please?" And I was like, and I had to literally like, I was so excited. I was like, "Yeah, sure. So what you want to do is you want to go to Valentine."
Brilliant. I mean, that's the thing I find hard with games now is I'll end up playing one like for, I don't know, a few days in a row, and then having like months off. Yes. And then maybe try something else with the kids, and then you go back to it and you can't remember. I can't remember the buttons.
Can't remember it.
I'm jumping instead of shooting, and it's just a whole.
It's really tough. I like to think that if I went back on a snowboard, I'd remember, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Yeah. Survival. It's a funny thing, especially in the creative industries, doing what has become a very, it used to be a very small pool, didn't it? Illustration. And then the internet and online learning and all the kind of things that have come about to make it easy for you and I and many others to work for themselves. It's meant that it's got very saturated, the market, hasn't it? And do you feel like this next sort of tech phase that we're in is actually going to, struggling to find the right way to ask this, not address that, but do you think it will thin out the kind of amount of artists out there? And there's not an easy way to ask it, because I think everybody deserves to be able to do what they want to do, but I guess it's the whole kind of argument, the cream will rise to the top type thing. Yeah,
I mean, I think in all of it, there's also luck is a factor in all of this, but you can but equally you can kind of make yourself luckier. I certainly sort of would stand by that. If you're not getting, or any time where I've not been getting the kind of work that I wanted to get hired for, I would try to make it and build it up. And whether it was taking part in the gallery shows or just having something to put on social media, it's all just, you're always like improving and developing. Mm-hmm. I mean, with social media, we're kind of doing that in public. Whereas I guess once upon a time, you would spend years working away, and then you would emerge as an artist, having got more experience. So it's definitely harder, I think, for someone who's like, they're doing their A-levels or they graduated or whatever, wherever they're at starting out, you're kind of showing yourself as your work develops. Whereas because I was like pre-social media, so some of the stuff I'd already kind of worked on was, I'd had a few years to kind of sort of develop where I was going. Yeah. And you're not starting from zero. But yeah, will it? I mean, it may. I think the thing is as well, we'd all love to be getting big kind of client work all the time, but you have to. If it's really the thing you want to do, then you're just going to do it anyway. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people who aren't able to maintain it as a full-time thing. But equally, I think if that's the economic reality, then as frustrating as that is, I guess if you're determined to make art or whatever it is that you're doing, I guess you just got to keep doing it and hope that times improve. but
budgets come back. Yeah.
But I've also tried to, like, for instance, like, so I most of all I love doing movie posters.
Yes.
For either for classic movies, or in the case of or DVD covers, or sometimes for independent films where I've been approached by directors and things. That's always great. But I also had this sense of like, well, I do kind of portraits and I do characters, and I'd love to do sport related stuff. And so I kind of like made a point of doing a couple of examples. And then, it's funny, out of that, the last year or so, I've ended up doing mostly football, but that's kind of opened up this other avenue that, so my goal is to be, pop culture and movies whenever I can.
Yeah.
Or video games, whatever. But I want to be a commercial artist, commercial illustrator. So if there's an industry that, is using illustrators, then I'm up for being involved in it, basically. So sport is like an obvious one, where that kind of is taking what I'm doing anyway, capturing someone's likeness and, potentially doing like a collage type thing of different players, all that stuff. So that's been really fun to kind of go in that area too, and not be sort of, because if you are just sitting there hoping for someone to kind of come to you with a movie poster, then you might be waiting a long time. Because the market is very oversaturated.
I see that a lot, actually. People sort of, I really, really feel for them, and it takes all of my energy not to message them and tell them what to do or offer some advice, unsolicited advice. But you do see a lot of, it's gone really quiet out there, and I don't know what I'm going to do. And from looking at your career, and definitely mine as well, there's been a huge amount of storms that we've had to weather. But I see that you are very adept at spotting the opportunities. So you kind of sit there and you go, okay, so this has happened, whether global economic crisis or pandemic or what we're currently in now, which is some kind of weird post-pandemic AI, economic uncertainty, business lacking in confidence, all kind of, it's almost basically anything that could go wrong is all going wrong at once. So I really feel for artists out there, it's a really tough time.
Yeah.
But you have kind of always in those situations gone, okay, so what can I do? Are there any new skills I can learn? Are there any new people I can go and meet? Any events I can go to?
Yeah.
Is my portfolio, does it look a little bit thin in that area that I think has got lots of scope for, work?
Yeah. I mean, I've had a lot of people reach out to me, and, they're sort of they will see, not just me, I guess, but, like, I want to do what you're doing. And, how can I do that? And then there's been a few occasions where then I'll say, well, let me see your portfolio. And maybe there isn't one, or if there is one, it's like really small and there's maybe 2 or 3 things in there. And it's like, make that your project and forget, obviously it'd be great if all the things in there were client work, but until you get the client work, someone's got a potential client has got like, I don't know, 10 seconds to look at your stuff. But if you have a page of 15 to 20 pieces that reflect what you would like to do, as opposed to, and early on, if you're getting paid to do something, you're going to take it on, even if it's not quite where you want to be, what you want to be getting paid to draw. And then, it's very tempting to kind of put all that stuff in your portfolio, right? Because I work with this client. But what I found out is, it's okay, it's great. If you can get paid to do it, great. But don't automatically put everything. It's better to have a personal piece of work that is really you, because that's the thing you want to get paid to do tomorrow. So build that stuff up, and eventually, you can do it. But it is such a long-term thing. And you can definitely have a quiet few months for sure.
That's quite normal.
That's quite normal. So it's always, there's never any point in panicking, But because the point is there's always something else you can do. There's always someone else you can like reach out to, try and connect with them on LinkedIn, follow an art director on Instagram. If they follow you back, then send them a message, like the networking side of it is so important. And I mean, I'm saying this as like, I'm trying to still get better at it, but when I'm coming to the end of a big project, I am getting more and more thoughtful these days about saying, right, I now need to start. In 2 weeks' time, I really will need something else to do, even though I'm currently stressed about finishing this thing. So yeah, reaching out to somebody that you haven't worked with for a few years and saying, oh, hey, it's been a while. And, most of those things won't go anywhere, but you only need one or two to come back to you. And then, I was just, and I was just thinking I was needing someone or whatever. And, you can sort of engineer to some extent. There's certain things you can control. And I think it's easy to get, I also know it's easy to get into that sense of despair, which social media doesn't help, because
no.
if your inbox is kind of feeling empty of like opportunities, and then you're like, oh, I'll just check Instagram. And then the first 5 things are your peers, and in some cases your friends, people you respect, admire and love, doing something awesome that you weren't able to do or weren't invited to. It can be hard to say it's that beat. And equally, I also recognize now that then when you're feeling good, when I've done something that I'm finally able to share, I'm giving that bad vibe to someone else. So it's really hard. But equally, obviously, you have to get the work out there to try and get something else. So
it's between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
I think we can establish then that survival is about those who apply themselves and keep pivoting and spotting opportunities and not giving up and keeping a ton of optimism and keep going, really. Keep yourself sane.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the being on the art side more than, say, graphic design, it's if you're able to develop a style where you're selling prints of your work, or if you can get an audience to that can start out relatively small and you grow it over time, then if you can build a group that is to some extent invested in what you're doing and like seeing it, and you can that's where, I mean, we all have problems with like how much like reach on social media has kind of massively declined, but it's still free advertising. It's what I try and remind myself, I'm still able to reach a few people, not as many as I used to be able to, but it's still getting the stuff out in front of a few people. And, you only need a few people really to kind of support you. It'd be nice to have millions or thousands or hundreds, but the people who do leave a comment or who are kind of there for you, and I've had stuff where, again, it's partly having such a long career, but people I've worked with in the graphic design capacity or web design, they've more recently reached out to me about doing artwork for them. So it is this long-term game, and always I make a point of anyone I work with, I'm going to connect with them on LinkedIn. And over time, you're making it more likely that other opportunities will happen. Yeah. But it is hard to kind of get that going in the first place.
It is. And it's hard to keep it going when you're so busy working. It's a tough call. I really feel for anyone working in the creative industries. I know I've been there myself, and I still find, you've just got to keep changing. So survival is knowing that nothing's ever going to sit still, and you shouldn't either.
Yeah, you got to assume, I guess, that it's not going to. And then, but even things like, I was thinking about, I've just finished, a fairly decent sized project, and it was great. And then I'm kind of handed off to the accounts department. And then there's that moment you realize the payment terms are 60 days. So where it'd be lovely to I'd love to take a day off here and kind of just decompress. But then you really have to hustle because you have to take on a smaller thing that you might get paid for sooner.
Yes.
Because, it's not like the mortgage is going to wait and say, oh, you've got a client that's not paying you for another 2 months. Don't worry.
Top tip. Get a fierce pretend accountant who chases all your invoices. Give him or her a very authoritative name. And just let them do the chasing. It works a treat, I can tell you.
That's a top tip there. Yeah, I mean, I have to say as well, I want to give a shout out to my wife, who she does my bookkeeping, and she is very much part of the reason I'm able to do what I'm doing. Well, in fact, I mean, you saw this firsthand, Katy.
Yeah.
She came in and was offered tech support when I couldn't get this thing up and running. But she helps to give me the flexibility I need. Whether it's, occasionally having to work early or late, whatever that might be, or, so we're a team. She's a freelance too, but
oh, right. Okay.
She's a QA tester.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Is this too personal a question, but how did you both meet?
We met, no, it's not personal. We met at university doing karate.
Oh, nice. I thought you were going to say something like you met at a Comic-Con. You were dressed as, I don't know, Darth Vader, and she was Princess Leia.
No, I've never quite got into cosplay, but the people who do it, they're unbelievable.
They're amazing.
They really go for it. But
it's not really my thing either. But if you could cosplay, who would you go as, Sam?
Well, to be honest, it would be low effort, I guess. But I would just do the whole. I'd do Shaun of the Dead.
Yes.
Cricket bat, white shirt, make a little badge, off we go.
Perfect. I think you can actually get those online. Right. Well, this has been such a nice chat. Sam, thank you for your time. And I don't see you going anywhere fast very soon. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Really great to chat with you. I'm just going to sort of keep going. Let's keep making stuff.
A huge thank you to our guest, Sam Gilbey, for such an open, honest and inspiring conversation. I mean, what really stayed with me from today's chat is how Sam's career has been shaped not just by talent or opportunity, but by that determined focus, that quiet determination to keep going, to evolve and to stay true to what he loves. And in an industry that's constantly moving under our feet, it was a powerful reminder that sticking to your creative voice, even when the landscape changes, can be your greatest strength. Make sure you tune in again on Thursday for The Spark, our bonus episode with Sam, where we ask a bunch of fun and occasionally deep questions, including his most controversial creative opinion and whether he'd do cosplay and what as. And don't forget, if you want to subscribe, you can do so at creativeboom.com/podcast or find us wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you next time. Big thanks to the School of Communication Arts for sponsoring this season of the Creative Boom podcast. Don't forget, their brand new SCA online portfolio course is now live. It's the perfect way to break into the creative industries from wherever you are. Real briefs, top mentors, one incredible opportunity. Visit schoolcommunicationarts.com to find out more. And to enjoy £500 off the price of the course, use our special code BOOM500 at checkout.